Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to a brand new episode of Sister Sister, and this is the longest running relationship show on air. And do you know how you can join us? All you need to do is send in your letters to us, especially if there are issues in your relationship, and we will get to read it on the show and help you navigate on how to solve these issues. Well, I don't do this alone. I do this with the sisters, but it's time for me to take a quick break, and when we come back, you will be meeting the sisters. You're welcome back. It's still Sister Sister, and if you're listening to us, this is City 97.3 FM, and we want to say a very big thank you to Kivo Pepe and Cindy Rice for holding us down always. Thank you so much for sponsoring this show. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, like I said, it's time for me to introduce the sisters. Drum roll. The sisters. Hi, sisters.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Hey, today, dear. I think we've never really done this, but we need to do it. Let's give a round of applause to Magdalene. Yes, that's our producer. She just keeps on making us comfortable, and also changing our sets and exciting our sets anyway. So, Magdalene, thank you so much. Now, ladies, what's up? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm just feeling myself today.
In fact, I can feel like
I'm
you're feeling yourself.
I'm rocking this special design from Senegal. I got it when I went on my trip.
Yeah.
And I'm rocking with Ola earrings.
Thank you.
And my usual red. I can't do without a little bit of red in my life. So I'm actually feeling myself. I'm actually on a high today. I'm actually extremely excited. I don't know what about, but maybe something good is coming. So I'm actually very...
I think because it's still the month of love, and now we are expressing self-love.
Yeah. It's good to love yourself.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm actually very happy.
All right.
Extremely excited.
Sicho.
Yes, my love.
Last time you said you were loving yourself, for Valentine's Day. So what did you do to Valentine's?
I was swept out of town.
PG.
Make sure the kids are sleeping.
I think I ended up out of town, and I just had a peaceful, calm day, which was good for my soul. I had fun.
Right. Olivia? Yeah, have you recovered?
I'm feeling tired. Why wouldn't you be tired?
You're
Have you recovered?
I'm feeling tired.
You explain
I don't know whether it has to do with growing old or I don't know.
You can explain tired.
No, Valentine's Day. Yeah, because Valentine's Day, you told us.
Just imagine being in their marriage now. You're thicker still. Do you understand? Like they're still. Yes.
Hey.
Let's just say yes. We thank God.
All right. Anyway, it's good to hear.
I wouldn't. Thank you, God. Thank you.
Well, it's good to hear, and love is a beautiful thing, and that is what a lot of people pray when it comes to relationships, like, to have a very stable and happy relationship where you actually feel loved. Even if it's a relationship with yourself, just,
Exactly.
let there be love. You understand? Now, talking about relationships, the viewers have sent in their letters, and we have very interesting letters that we're going to be reading today. Like, it's sort of like the unusual, but I'm sure we're going to enjoy it. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so let's get straight into it. Dear sisters, I'm writing to you with a rather unusual yet ongoing concern that has been weighing me down for years now. As a devoted husband, I have tried to be patient, understanding, and supportive, but there's something I can no longer ignore. What could it be, ladies? It's about my wife. God bless her. But there's an issue that's been silently taking over our nights. She has been drooling on me while we sleep. And I'm not talking about a little spill here or there. I'm talking about a full-on drool fest that has persisted for years. I'm starting to feel like I'm sleeping with a leaky faucet instead of a beautiful, loving wife. Now, I love her dearly, and I would never want to cause any harm to our relationship. But I'm just so tired. I wake up in the middle of the night drenched in drool, constantly wiping my face, my shirt, and even my pillow. It's gotten to the point where I dread bedtime because I know I'll be battling with damp sheets and wet shoulders by morning. I've tried to be gentle and bring it up in the past, but she just laughs it off, saying it's no big deal.
Hey.
Meanwhile, I feel like I'm living in a constant state of soggy discomfort. I just don't know how much longer I can keep this up. So I turn to you, the wise and trusted sisters of Sister. What can I do? How do I address the situation without hurting her feelings while also finding some relief for my own sanity? Your insight and advice will mean the world to me right now. With all due respect and a little bit of desperate hope, a concerned and sleep-deprived husband. Nice description. Okay, so before we get into it, what I just want to say, I like the fact that he loves his wife.
Yeah.
But he's just tired.
Yeah.
Which I think is normal.
Yeah.
So, Sister, let me start with you because...
You know, I find it very unfortunate when people in relationships or marriages don't communicate enough. And communication is two-way. It's listening and talking. Mm-hmm. Once you gaslight someone or brush something off like, oh, it's not important, it makes it a lot more hurtful. Because then you are trying to put their feelings aside or trash it as if it doesn't matter. For somebody to, it's like telling a partner they have mouth odor or they have body odor or anything of the sort. I always say when you love someone, it's one of the hardest conversations to have, these difficult conversations. Now for you to gather the courage to have it and then the person just makes light of it, it's a terrible thing to do. But unfortunately, the man is the one sending us the letter. I think it's time he sits her down and seriously have that conversation. Tell him he's really uncomfortable with this and something needs to be done about it. If it means going to the hospital, if it means she getting another room. Mm-hmm. You see, we always think that because you are married to someone, you must be in the same room, in the same bed with them every time of the year or every time for the rest of the time that you are married. There are so many instances and reasons why it could push you to have separate rooms or separate beds for that matter. Why is she sleeping on your arm or face and drooling all over you? Romantic. She can. What kind of romantic? If it causes discomfort for you, then the romance is one-sided, and nobody wants to feel like they are just being exploited in a relationship. I definitely wouldn't want to feel that way. If it was the man, for me personally, that was doing that. Let's say I'm married to a man and he's doing that, and I've spoken about it and he's brushed it off a couple of times. I'll probably just want to sleep in the guest room. Or
in my own room.
Or if he starts to doze off, I'll push him to sleep on his pillow. It can't possibly be one pillow in the room. So he needs to sit down with her and have that serious conversation. Let her know how serious you are about this and how it's affecting you mentally and psychologically perhaps, so that she can take it seriously. And if she doesn't do that, get counseling, get somebody to come into it to sort it. Because the last thing you want to do is to allow this to fester to the point where the love you have for the person starts to deteriorate. You want to nip it in the bud quickly before it becomes a canker in the relationship.
Okay. Rosie.
Okay. So let me enjoy my, forgive me. So I wanted to take it from where Sucho ended. There are little things in a marriage that when it goes unchecked, it can cause a big deal and negate almost every good thing there is that is in the marriage. And this is one of them. It's not a crime to drool. It's actually a medical condition to drool. However, the fact that she is brushing it aside, I was enjoying the story till I got to the fact, oh, it's okay.
And she laughs about it.
She laughs about it. That's where I felt that his wife was being unfair. Because the thing obviously bothers the man. And I'm sure the way he's speaking, I take it that he's the kind of man who is very careful about hurting the other person's feelings.
Exactly. He's trying to choose
his choice of words are very careful, very respectful, very much like, I don't want to hurt her, I don't want to, but this is really causing me a problem. So I can imagine that in his communication with her, he is very gentle about it. And that's why the woman thinks that, oh, it's for play. But on the contrary, she should be happy that she has a gentleman for a husband who is able to communicate what issues he has with her without necessarily insulting her person. Because it can be very uncomfortable. Listen.
Even if it's a man, if it's the other way around.
No, both ways. Look, listen, the thing about pillows, you see, that's why, for instance, for me, when I come to your house, and I have to even sleep, I will not sleep on your pillow. Because I don't know whose head has been on it. I don't know who has drooled on it. So for me, and the thing about drooling is that because at that time you are sleeping, your mouth is probably closed or semi-closed for so many hours, that drool may not even necessarily be a pleasant drool in terms of the smell, the stench. It may not really be a pleasant drool. And the fact that the drool has entered the pillow, that is soft, cotton, whatever, you realize that that stench may be sitting in the pillow. So for instance, if your husband decides to pick your pillow, for instance, one time by mistake, he can tell that it's your pillow by the stench of it. So at the end of the day, it's a serious issue. But the good news is that this issue can be treated. It's treatable. It's not, because the essence of drooling is that your mouth is your mouth is producing too much saliva.
Exactly.
So there are actually medications you can take to limit the kind of saliva that you produce. And there can be ways of managing it. So for me, because it's the man sending it in, what I want you to do is that you've spoken to her, she slapped it off. Maybe you should seek medical attention on her behalf. Get to know that there's a solution to it. Get to know that there's a way to go around it. And then next time you communicate with her with a solution in hand.
Then let's go to the hospital.
You know, I've been to the hospital. I've mentioned it to a doctor and they said it's treatable, but they need to see you because I can't take the medication on your behalf.
Yeah.
So they need to see you, assess the severity of the issue to be able to know what doses to give and all of that. And I'm thinking that the way you communicate to us, and I'm thinking that is the way you communicate to her. I'm thinking that you would communicate to her nicely for her to be able to follow you, and for her to be able to have the guts to say, oh, it's nothing wrong with it. It means that owns role. So I don't think that there's anything giddy about the way you talk to her. So at the end of the day, all I will say is that maybe what you should do is that seek medical help on her behalf, do a bit of research, what can be done, what cannot be done, how it can be limited and all of that. Then next time you speak to her, just speak to her with a solution and go together with her to the hospital. Let her know that it's an us problem. Go with her to the hospital, and I'm sure that even if it's not totally mitigated, it will be controlled somewhat.
Yeah. Olivia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this one there. I think that how you communicate is very important, because at the end of the day, like they say in our canned palettes, but it's very unfortunate that she doesn't appreciate the seriousness, that she doesn't appreciate how much it's affecting you. So I think maybe how you went about it, telling her, and how she probably like swept it under the carpet, you need to look her head on, like eyeball to eyeball, and say, babe, Charlie, I love you to bits, so, but this thing is, this is how it's affecting me. I can't get enough sleep. It's affecting me at work. I'm not happy. Like, let her know that as much as she doesn't take it seriously, it means the world to you if she would at least try and both of you do something about it together. And also don't address it as a you problem. Address it as our problem, so that she feels like, she doesn't feel like, oh, you're attacking her, but she rather feels more like you are ready and willing to work with her towards having a solution for the problem. Talking about solutions, picking up from what Rosie said, it's not like the situation is irreversible. You can actually do something about it. It has to do with how she lies down as well in bed. So rather than lie on the what do you call it, on her side, she needs to watch, because it's all about nasal. Sometimes she could be nasal, she could be congested, and it's about how she breathes. Because if you're not getting enough air through your nose, then automatically you open your mouth. So rather than husband lie like this, she can lie head back. And pillows as well is very important. Because of how she would lie down, positions, posture, so they need to look at it. From a medical perspective, drooling can actually be caused by some side effects of some medication she could be on. So that's something she needs to look at.
She could even have sinuses without
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So sinuses, effects of some kind of medication she's on. But most importantly, it's sad when you are desperately looking for a solution and your partner really doesn't care. So my thing is, how do you get her to appreciate where you're coming from so that you can work on a solution? Definitely go and see a doctor with her together. And maybe just in case you have a conversation with her and she's not forthcoming and she doesn't want to go, because there's sometimes you can be like, let's do this, but your partner just does not care. Like, you can't force somebody if they don't want to genuinely do something about it, because they don't appreciate how, like, they probably trivialize it.
No, you see, I like the fact that we're talking about this. And, this has also shown me that I think it's the African society. We live in the African society where people are just expected to get married. Nobody is asking, okay, are you guys communicating? Exactly. Are you guys even, compatible? Because to be compatible, that means you could even communicate. Mm-hmm. But it seems like most times when people find it difficult to communicate with their husbands and wives.
Exactly. So it's, again, you see, so it's all about how you communicate, because then they will speak to other people but not speak to the person that they are in the relationship. So like, if you are somebody who casually says things and you're not really serious, like, you need to change your posture and you need to change how you communicate. You need to let her know that, Charlie, I love you to bits, but now it's really becoming unbecoming. Like, I can't deal anymore. And let her look at it very seriously and tell her you're ready and willing to actually even go to the hospital with her. And if push comes to shove, when you get to the doctor, he says, Dr. Charlie, I have a big problem. So you can actually put it on yourself, because maybe she might be embarrassed. You don't know. Everybody is different. So there are different solutions. She can either take it head on and say, I'm the problem, and you go with her and encourage her, or you can shift it on you and say, doctor, this is the problem. No. How do we get to the solution to it? That's what just in case, I'm looking at different scenarios and how the situation makes the individual feel. Just in case she's feeling embarrassed, you can actually put it on yourself. But at the end of the day, you are there with her. It's not like you're there alone, and then find a solution together with it. And if push comes to shove, you actually open up with the doctor and say, this is what the situation is. But moving on from there, sometimes you might end up marrying people who have all sorts of issues. You might end up marrying somebody. There's a story I heard of somebody who, every time they have sex or they have intimacy and she is about to arrive, she actually, poos on herself during the process. So something like this, and her husband loves her to bits. There are all sorts of stories. So her husband loves her to bits. So in this situation, there's what can she do about it? She can't control her body. She can't do anything about it. So there's sometimes in life.
There's something she can do about it. Empty your bowels before.
Simple.
Apparently, no matter whatever she does, I think the force with which it's coming is. Anyway, I'm just saying that. What if you end up being? But some people like it. What did I even bring it up? What if you end up being in a relationship with somebody who just does not want to have a solution to, who's not bothered about the problem like you are? What are you going to do? So sometimes love and life and relationships and marriages, they go through ups and downs. They're a bit of a test to how much you can withstand, how much you can't withstand. But having said that, there's no solution, there's no problem without a solution. So there's definitely a way around it. But
I like the way you said, relationships all have tests and their ups and downs. But there are some things that can be avoided from the begining. Exactly. I feel like people are getting married to themselves without even knowing this person.
But unfortunately, something like drooling, how would he know if they were practicing?
Exactly.
If they were abstaining before marriage?
Well, that's true.
You see, and sometimes
wouldn't
you
know.
see, and some of these situations, they're embarrassing to the one who is happening to. So sometimes the embarrassment is what makes them push it off.
Exactly.
Because it's like you are so ashamed about it, you're embarrassed about it. In your mind, you think you've done your best to control it.
Okay.
But for some reason, it's not happening. So sometimes you're embarrassed about it, so you don't even bring it out. But I think that, you see, I keep saying that when it comes to marriage, anything that you know will come out.
Exactly.
Medical issues,
Exactly.
all those
You
things.
can't hide it.
It's good to declare before, whether you are
Exactly.
doing abstinence or non-abstinence. Because even the non-abstinence, look, you can be dating that you're not abstaining. You can be dating for marriage or anything. And when you go there, your hair is in one place, you sleep upright because you don't want to mess up your look, your makeup. Some women even get up 2 hours, 1 hour before the man gets up to reapply makeup and do all of that because it's short term.
I know someone that.
But in
that
the marriage,
used to
you know,
do
you can't keep it up for life, man. So at some point, it's going to show. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe there's a part of her that knows that what she's doing or what is happening to her is not nice.
Okay, so now
maybe she's
let's
asleep,
talk
but
about.
she doesn't even know.
No,
Let's
she
talk
knows.
about
Drooling,
when she wakes up
the
in the
level
morning,
of
maybe,
excessive
yeah.
drooling, when you drool
You
and
know.
you get up and it's on your partner's chest
Ew.
or it's on your pillow, you would know.
Actually, have some messages from our Facebook page, and I'm going to be going through them, and it's still on this issue. So Lena Kelly is saying, let her see a doctor first. Ellie Klim Gosu says, after cleaning the mouth in the evening, give her chewing gum to busy her mouth at sleep. I hope you have seen a doctor. Evans
But chewing gum
McCaffrey is
promotes
saying,
saliva.
yes, that will cause more saliva.
Yeah.
So Evans McCaffrey is saying, firstly, you need to be firm in letting her know it is a big deal since it has become a regular experience. That's what Olivia and Situ are saying. You need to be firm a bit.
Yeah.
If she's smiling, I'm not smiling. This is serious.
Yeah.
Adisa is saying, please sit her down in the middle of the night with a low and loving tone and explain to her how you feel about the whole situation.
I agree.
Suggest to her what you think can be the solution to the problem. Or better still, both of you should visit the hospital. Jennifer White says, let her brush her teeth very well and gargle her mouth with a warm salt solution before sleeping. And Miss Brock is saying, let her deworm.
Oh.
Worms. Okay.
All right.
Worms is different, but worms.
Maybe.
Well, you never know.
You never
You
know.
never know. Right.
But basically, get medical advice,
Exactly.
expert advice,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
it's not like it's irreversible.
Exactly.
And she just has to be willing to appreciate where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think that this problem is like a.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be looking into our second letter of the day. Welcome back. This is still Sister Sister, the longest running relationship show on air. And you are watching ChannelOne TV. And if you're listening, it's City 97.3 FM. So we took a quick break, and now it's time for us to get into our second letter. But remember to use the hashtag Sister Sister in case you want to comment on Facebook, on Twitter, about any of the discussions that we're having right now. And also, if you want to send in your letter, send it via sistersisterislike@gmail.com. A big thank you to our sponsors, Cindy Rice and Kivo Pepper. Thank you so much for holding us down. So, ladies, we have our second letter here. Let's just go straight into it. Dear sisters, marriage has become a bit boring after 13 years. So I decided to try something new elsewhere. I started hanging out with friends on Fridays after work, but the feeling wasn't what I expected. It was during one of these moments that I met this cute, lovely lady. She is very beautiful, I must confess. I had the courage and approached her. She seems to be the shy type. At first, she did not give me the audience, but I never gave up until I was able to make her laugh that night. That night we had fun, as if we had known each other for ages. First, we became friends, and then I made my intentions known to her. Initially, she said no because she was coming from a very bad relationship, but I managed to convince her that I am not looking for any serious commitment. I told her the truth, that I'm married with a lovely family, and that all I want from her is just to hang out on Fridays after work for a little fun. She made it known to me that she does not want any commitment, so we agreed on a commitment-free relationship with no strings attached. Although she is working, I still took care of her basic needs, and in return, she made me very happy. We did this for 2 years, and during this period, she tried 2 relationships, which did not work out. It was fun throughout. She is very intelligent, very beautiful, and sexy. She gave me the fun I needed. She is also very good in bed, although sex wasn't the main agenda. We only had sex once in a while. We enjoyed each other's company. Now to my issue. Due to the current economic crisis...
That's not an issue.
Now, let me do that again.
Now the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
The first one was not the issue.
Oh,
We're
okay.
getting into the main issue. Now to my issue. Due to the current economic crisis, I'm struggling to keep her and my home at the same time. The economic hardship has made it difficult for me to maintain the standard at home and continue to keep her. I love my family and would do anything to make them happy. To achieve this, I decided to end the relationship with her. I expected the breakup to be easier since we agreed on a commitment-free relationship with no strings attached. As usual, we met on Friday evening after work, and during the lovely time together, I told her my intentions. I suggested to her that we should break up for a while for me to keep up with the family maintenance and be happy. She was very quiet and said nothing. I realized she wasn't happy with my suggestions. I dropped her off at home that night, and it was very unusual of her. She pulled me to her room and gave me the best sex ever. I went home very confused that evening. I did not hear from her throughout the weekend, and I also decided not to check up on her because I want to break up for a while. On Monday morning, while getting ready to work, she sent me a very short text which read, I am going to the village to meet my parents on some few personal stuff, and I will be back next week. But for your information, I equally need you in this economic hard times. Whom do you expect to take care of my basic needs while you are gone? If you try anything funny, I will juju you. I am very confused and scared. I need your advice, sisters. Please. I mean, his name is even here, but I don't want to mention his name.
Critical signs. Which one is he worried about? The juju or the juju?
The first part of the, I'm sorry we are laughing, it's sad, but the first part of the letter I thought was an issue. Then he said now to my main issue.
Yes.
And then I thought that was the issue. And then until I heard the last issue.
And that's the main issue.
What you say main as if the other one he considered it to be an issue. Yeah. This is the issue.
This is the issue.
You see, Charlie, I don't know. For men and women alike, marriage is not for children. And marriage is intentional and it's a lifetime commitment. Now, if you've been married to somebody for 13 years, you don't expect the person to be like you were before. There has been wear and tear over the period of the marriage.
Thank you. Tell me about it.
Your body has changed. You produce kids, hormonal things. You too, she's also stuck with you for 13 years. Yeah, you think you are stuck with her for 13 years, but she's also stuck with you for 13 years. Yeah. And then, there was a statement he made that when he first met the girl was not, coming forth, and she had to...
He had to push.
He had to push and push and push till
he made her laugh.
He made her laugh. That is the energy you need in your marriage.
Yeah.
When you realize that the fire is going down. You see, sometimes I don't understand. As human beings, we put a lot of effort in our work because we feel like it gives us physical returns in terms of money. You put a lot in all of these things, a lot
Even
of
your
energy.
children.
Your children, because you feel like, oh, they are the
They'll
ones
turn
who will
out
take
well.
care, they'll turn
Yeah.
out well and take care of you in your old age. There are so many, we put a lot of energy into these things. But your companion, where, Sebi, your peace of mind can be defined. You don't want to put energy there. You get up in the morning and you expect your wife, autopilot, to do everything you expect her to do. You wake up in the morning and you expect your husband, autopilot, to do everything you expect him to do without putting in any effort, any energy, any drive. So the way you're able to put in energy to make that girl just laugh. Have you put
Why
in,
couldn't you do that?
Have you put in that energy to your
1%.
wife
Just
to
1%.
make your wife just laugh?
They never do that.
This is somebody who has not only
Stuck
loved
by
you,
you.
has married you, stuck by you,
Giving you
has children
kids,
for
yeah.
you. The energy you put in to make that girl laugh, you will probably take about 20 or 30% of that energy to make her laugh. But you have decided in your head that, I've been eating banku for 13 years. I'm tired.
How were you eating banku for 30
I
years?
want to eat fufu. So you go
Listen.
out. So you want to go out and deliberately. So you see, he went out intently to
To
Have fun.
to
Yeah.
have fun, to look
have
for
fun.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Whether it was midlife crisis or whatever it is, I don't understand. But you deliberately did this to yourself. And you see, and I keep saying, when you're in a marriage and you go out to go and look for a girl, except for some girl who wants to collect you from you and, marry you, they know that you can't offer them commitment.
Yeah.
So he made mention that he agreed with the lady for a commitment-free relationship. But my take is that it can't be anything else because you're already married.
Married,
You're already
exactly.
committed somewhere else. So whatever you have with her is not a committed relationship. But you see, you put in so much energy. You've even added her to economical
Exactly.
balance sheet. So it means that when you have your salary, you have the one apportioned to your
understand?
family.
Yeah.
The one apportioned to this lady. Listen, gentlemen, you have brought this on yourself. I'm very particular about this because it hits home. I'm very, 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 because you see, you can't have a relationship with somebody who wakes up in the morning to make sure your home runs. Everything is okay with you. And she hasn't done anything wrong because you haven't said. You just said the relationship has become boring.
It just became boring.
She hasn't done anything wrong. She hasn't cheated on you. She hasn't done anything. She's still the person she's supposed to be. It's just that it lacks a bit of fire, a bit of spark.
And you love her.
And you love her, which you can generate. So the spark, it comes and goes. Look, listen, life is like a normal curve. At some point, you can be excited. You hit a crescendo, telling you are tired, you're exhausted. You need to come back down, and then you pick it up again. That's how life moves. So now you brought this upon yourself. You've engaged this lady. Now this lady is also enjoying her commitment-free relationship because she has tried 2 other relationships and it hasn't worked out. It didn't work out because being in a committed relationship is a lot. It's not child's play. So she's like, if this is what commitment looks like, this man is giving me rules, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. I think I like my commitment-free relationship because guess what? It gets me what I need financially, it gets me what I need sexually, it gets me what I need emotionally.
And the sex is not always.
And it's not always. So it's not that hard. It's not that deep, So she's also comfortable in that. Then you come, I don't understand you. You want to break up with the lady. And look at the reason you are giving to the lady. Look, if I were the lady, I'll do the same thing. Exactly. Because you are giving the reason that, listen, we've reached that point in time. I pushed you for a commitment-free relationship. But right now, because of the economy, I have to choose between my wife and you.
Why?
Listen, just tell her that, look, listen, you've gotten to a point where you think that you've been bad to your wife. Maybe your wife has found out something. Say something. But you want to tell me that now your money cannot support both of us. So the time I also spent giving you unko.
Exactly.
What is that all about?
Exactly. And I left 2 relationships because of you.
I don't know how to advise you on this. Usually I want to be very understanding, especially of men. And I try to be very calm with these things, not judgmental. But I can't help you on this. Let me be frank. Because right now, you have a wife you've disrespected. You have a home you have opened up to all manner of spirits and human beings and all kinds of things.
Because if she's psycho, she can come to the
Now,
house.
exactly. And people who don't talk, and they should be scared. The way you told her, she didn't say anything.
She didn't give you sex on top.
She didn't give you sex on top. Then she's now got some. Maybe that sex crowd was like she has even collected some of your this thing your soul that she's going to use for the juju that she's going to do. You see, why do men do this to their families?
Yeah.
Why do men do this for their families? Meanwhile, the thing that you are getting from this girl, if you ask it of your wife, you will get it. And if you do things such that you don't even have to ask it, if you do right by them, you will get it as
On a silver platter.
on a silver platter. But you've done all of this, now you are worried because the juju is coming inside. Really?
By fire, by force.
Where are you running to?
Please, if I have to give an advice, go and confess to your wife. And both of you together can handle the juju and go and pray about it. That's all I can say, because I don't know what advice I can give you. You see, it's high time. Sicho usually says things like, oh, the men, they are not babies. We treat them like they are babies. So like, this is a classic example. You have a marriage, the woman has done anything to you for 13 years, and this is what you want to do to make yourself. And you know, in his submissions, he kept saying, it was boring, and I wanted to, and I wanted to. You can't be in a marriage and still have an I mentality.
I mentality.
It's a family mentality when it comes to things like this. So the whole time you're like, and I, and I, and I, and I.
His really was bored.
Anyway, I'm sorry, for the first time in my over a decade of sister, I have no solutions for you. Right. Just go and confess to your wife and see how the two of you can deal with it.
It's a solution.
Well,
Olivia.
Charlie, this one, dear. I don't
I've
even
never
know
been
where
this
to
pissed. No, I've never been pissed like this on set, but this really pisses me off.
I don't even know where to start from. Like what she's saying, I'll just continue from where she's saying. You brought this upon yourself. It's so sad. It really, really is sad because unfortunately, women are brought up to be literally the glue in every home. Women are working. Women are ensuring that kids have food on their table. Women are always the one who are burdened with the responsibility of ensuring that the home is up and running. And the men are brought up to think that, okay, just provide the money and be there. And then, you know, even when women have babies, the men are having a field trip while the woman is at home with her mother and the baby, because we don't get the men involved. That's why I always say that let's get the men involved. Clearly, this guy has so much time on his hands. He was so bored. If he was helping out with homework in the house, if he was helping out when the woman is breastfeeding, he was washing feeding bottles. If he was cleaning the bathroom, cooking food on the table, giving you a chill pill, getting involved with family life, trust me, you will not have been bored. Unfortunately, two things. Confess to your wife and tell your wife that, honey bunny, I have done wrong by you. I have sinned against you. I am so sorry. Confess to her before this other girl. I don't know how close she has even become in their text messages, whether she has seen a picture, because according to you, it's almost like you really built a solid relationship with this girl. It was not based on just the sex. You liked her company. You guys laugh about stuff. You guys are close. You guys are talking. You guys are communicating. Discuss the wife. Maybe she even knows she knows where your wife works. She knows she knows a lot of things about you. This girl can easily get up and go, okay, go straight to your wife and tell your wife that this is what your husband is doing to me, has done to me. Now he wants to break up with me. If I were you, I'll immediately go to your wife, confess to her, tell her that this is what I've done. You're very sorry about it, and tell her that now they want to brutalize you. They're taking you to I don't know, somewhere to go and kill you. Please help me pray, because unfortunately you've given away so much. And and just know that when you tell your wife, she's thinking that you're the best husband, there's nothing wrong, because as far as we are concerned, the submission that you gave, it's like everything is okay in the house. There's no trouble. She hasn't troubled you. She hasn't cheated on you. She hasn't done anything wrong. So as far as she knows, she's probably sitting down thinking that, hey, everything is perfect in my home. And my husband is happy. The sex, maybe she's giving her best. But now you're going to come straight to her. Unfortunately, this situation is not something that you can put it under the bed sheet or under your pillow and say no, because what goes around comes around. In life, whatever actions you take, you should be prepared for the consequences. And unfortunately, the consequences are coming in hard and strong on you. And unfortunately, you've included not just your wife, your kids are now exposed and involved. You don't know who you were sleeping with, whether it was a witch, whether it was Mami Water, you don't know. So get your wife involved. Go to her, go on your knees, beg for forgiveness, and know that she's going to be angry. Know that from today, now you will be praying together. If you have to pray together, you pray together. Ask for it, and know that she'll be angry. And when she's angry, you have to be patient. You have to be tolerant. I say, and you have to let her know, because you mentioned specifically that it was every Friday that you will go out and go and meet. So I'm sure that in the last when the affair started, every Friday you probably told your wife that you people are working on a project.
I'm with the boys.
I'm with the boys. So in her mind, she knows that, oh, you're probably doing something genuine. This time, you see, now you have to rebuild trust, and rebuilding trust is not easy. Every single, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, if you have to video call her and let her know that, babe, please, this is where I am. Look at where I am. I'll be home in the next 20 minutes. I'll be home in the next 1 hour. You have to be on top of your game to ensure that there's going to be peace and sanity. Because now, if your wife is a strong Christian, now she has to be fasting. You too, you have to be fasting. You have to be praying. And this other girl, honestly, I don't even know what you were doing, having sex with her again for the last time.
Because no, because you know, the thing is that the funny thing is that you said you only wanted fun. So how did you get it into sex?
Thank
you. I wanted someone to hang out with you.
And then even after you broke up and then the whole thing was going on, and then she offers you sex again, and then you take it. I don't even know how, like, what was going on. Like, were you thinking that you wanted to chop for the last, and this is what Siche is always upset about. Like, it's about time. Like, you need to grow up. You're a married man for 13 years. You have kids. Like, at which point in time were you going to stop and think that, okay, so what? You can't give her money now, so you're going to have fun with her for the last time, and Chale.
Oh, dear. Okay. I just wanted to be sure. It's unfortunate that men go into committed relationships like marriage and make light of it. Like Rosie rightly said, marriage is not for children. And so when a man is not matured enough to enter into the institution, admitting and accepting all that the institution comes with, as per the rules and the regulations guarding that institution, they would fall short of it no matter how long it takes, because they didn't really evolve enough to accept that what I'm entering into requires me to be this person, to enter into it and be my full self, which is honorable to the institution. Why am I saying this? You marry someone and after 13 years, it gets boring, and nobody thought you, or you didn't mature enough to realize that when it gets boring, the onus is lying on you and the person to do something about it, to bring spark back into the relationship. Of course, it will get boring. Even when I live in my mother's house for 2 weeks, it starts getting boring. I want to find somewhere to run to. You know, this also, Libby said something that is going to take me back a bit to the angle of the wives. There is a general notion that most women are looking for marriage, or most women, they are trained and groomed to be wives. So from the get-go, when you are a child, a young girl, your parents are training you in the kitchen and everywhere else to make you a wife material. But you don't hear anybody saying, oh, I'm a husband material, or I was raised to be a good husband. Yeah. My father taught me how to be a good husband. No man talks about that. And so, in as much as you enter into a relationship and you know now you are married, and she said something about you've given him babies. No, the two of you have made babies. You didn't give him babies. The two of you have made babies. Nobody gave anyone a baby. Now, aside from that,
what I meant was you had carried the baby in your stomach and it had caused changes.
Yes, but you made babies.
No, hold on. I'm talking about the change that it causes in your body. When a man gives birth, it doesn't result in a change in the man's body.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to emphasize.
Now,
not the fact that
when a relationship, the two people in the relationship have to come to an understanding that after a year, it's going to get stale. Some things are going to get boring and monotonous, and you need to do something about it. Even in relationship, if I'm dating someone after 6 months and we are doing the same old thing every day, maybe meeting in this particular pub or meeting in my house, it gets boring. And I will tell you, Masa, it's getting boring. Can't we do something else? Because I like to talk about some of these things, whether it's sex or intimacy or time spent together. And I feel like most women, once they marry, then they become laxed. mind you, the marriage is a journey. It's not a destination where you say, okay, I'm married now, everything is sorted. And I feel like most women come to that table with that mindset where, okay, now I have my husband, I have my children, everything is okay, life is going on well. So in as much as we are all painting the man black, I need for women, even though he wrote the letter and we are going to come, I'm going to circle back to that. I need for us women to also come to the table bearing in mind some of these challenges that society is presented to us in the times that we find ourselves in. Back in the day when the man is probably going to the farm, he's not on social media, he's not seeing girls, he's not going to pubs because his friends are not going to pub. He comes home, he eats his meal, and he's ready to get in bed with you or go to the bedroom and have fun with you. These days it's not like that. There's so many enjoyable activities in town that people want to. So naturally, he will become bored at some point. So the question is, the two of you that are in the relationship, when you were bored, did you talk to your wife about it? That, oh, Charlie, what can we do to make things exciting, to spice things up in this relationship? You didn't do that. And the wife too, I feel like if you are with someone, you are observing the person, some of these things. Why didn't she ever ask to go on some of these outings with him? So me, Sichofe, I'm married to a man, and every Friday he's going out after work. Me, I'm sitting at home. It won't happen. Not on this clock. On God's given clock, it won't happen. Every 2 times out of that 4 times, I'm going with you. Whatever it is you are doing in that time, we are all going to have that fun. And you see, I feel like women should get up from this daydreaming of, yeah, he's my husband. When he goes, he will come. When he goes and he messes up, it will affect your children and your children's children. It will affect the entire family. So you need to sit up and at some point, guard what is your own. It's called being territorial.
Very simple matter. Stop giving her money and inform your wife about her so that if she shows up one day, you are safe. And as for the juju, forget, it won't work. You never seen.
Somebody that came to warn you that is doing juju.
Latifa Yusuf says, meaning you are not the only selfish person alive. You have met yourself in her. You were both using each other. Now you are done. Well, she's not yet done, so wait till she's done too. Exactly. I support her. She should juju you. Yeah. Alima to Sadia Issa says, carry your cross. Yeah. You people think cheating is the only solutions to your problems. Do you know how your wife is managing, keeping up with all those years? And Francisca Patterson says, so why didn't you try all those fun activities with your wife?
That's what I'm saying.
You could have shopped for her, do a makeover for her, date her again, and of course, try all the fun things with her. Don't worry, Juju won't do anything. Be prayerful. Why? And Deladem Daniel says, my own is, whatever fun you were looking for, couldn't you have talked with your wife to recreate all those funs you had when you were dating? Besides, don't you think you could also be, that she could also be bored and also needs a little spice in her own life? Let's stop normalizing cheating. I agree with you. Let's not normalize cheating. It's been a very heated conversation, but we do not have time right now, so thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I will share my final thoughts. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It was a heated argument and obviously it's all about navigating, the best solutions in the letters that you send. But thank you to the sisters. They have done well. It was not very easy, especially with the second letter. It was not very easy, and they're still going on about it. But hey, let me share my final thoughts. So on the first issue of, the man having a wife that drools, and that has sort of become a problem. All I would just say is, like I said earlier, I have learned through this letter that communication is not just a one-way, thing. It goes 2 ways. It's about the person speaking and also the person listening. So it's about, the one sending and the receiver. So it's important for us as human beings to learn how to receive messages when other people talk to us. Let's not brush it off. Let's not always put it to the side or curb it to the side or always sweep it under the carpet. Sometimes someone can actually be opening up their soul to you, their feelings to you, their emotions to you about how they really feel about something, and you just act funny towards it. I don't think that's fair. That's actually gaslighting. I don't think that's fair. And also, the only thing I can tell the man is, all you need to do is just go to the hospital with your wife. This is not even an issue whereby you would stress yourself so much. Yes, you can stress yourself because it's a bit disgusting, when someone drools all over your body or a pillow, and it's been going on for a long time. And of course, we're talking about saliva. Saliva stinks. So yes, it's a bit disgusting. So the best thing that you can do is go to the hospital. And I would say something that I appreciate the fact that while writing your letter, you were very consistent in communicating and the way you address this person. It's clear that you love your wife. It's clear that you don't want to call her bad names. It's clear that you don't want to make her feel bad. And I'm sure that's how you express yourself at home. So kudos on that. And if you really do love your wife, like you said, or like we believe, all you need to do is try to get her to the hospital. And it's not an issue that cannot be solved, because drooling usually is an issue of hypersalivating, and hypersalivating can come from either medication or any medical condition that she might have, which she doesn't even know about, or something that she's already suffering from, but this is now what it's turning into. So all you need to do is just go to the hospital and then talk to a doctor about it, and I think that can be solved. Now, with the second issue that brought up the whole brouhaha, at the last moment of the show, I don't want to speak much because everyone have, said what we are all thinking. And it seems like even though there was a bit of confusion at some point, we still agree that what you did, young man, was not right. I don't know if you're young or old, but 13 years of marriage and all of a sudden you get bored. I think people should learn to spice up their marriages, and that is one thing we don't really talk about. But I'm sure they talk about it in counseling. I've never been married, so that's what I'm thinking. In counseling, I'm sure they talk about all these things. I know you cannot eat one food forever, but you can spice it up to make it new always. So yes, why couldn't you just speak to your wife about these things? Do you know how she's feeling exactly about you? Maybe she's also bored of you. Maybe she's also bored and tired of you, but she has to keep up being with you because she has to be the good wife. So I feel that energy that you used in talking to this new girl, that is the energy that you could have used in, toasting your wife again, making her feel new again, making her feel brand new again, bringing out the inner child in her. And you bringing out the inner child in her can actually bring out the inner child in you when you see the inner child in her, because it's going to make you happy. And you automatically become that person that you want to be again. I don't think boredom is a problem. Have you thought about traveling? Have you thought about sleeping out? Have you thought about taking her to somewhere nice? I mean, there are so many ways that you can spice up your relationship, but you just don't want to put effort to it. And that is what is going to cost you your marriage at this point, because this other girl is not backing down. And like one of the comments said, you are a bit selfish because she was on her own and you just came out of nowhere. We want to have a relationship together and now you want to leave? Come on. When she's not yet tired, now you are tired. I wouldn't say good for you, but at this point, you brought this onto yourself, and I think the best thing you can do is you just have to confess to your wife. You just have to tell your wife. So your wife could be ready for whatever that is going to come, because we don't know what storm is going to be coming next. But whatever it is, you need to speak to your wife. So now you two can become a team. And that boredom that you've been, running away from, now the boredom has changed to some adventure, because right now you and your wife can fight together. So the boredom is totally gone now. It's going to be an adventure to fight the common enemy that you brought. Anyway, thank you for sending in your letters. And I want to say a very big thank you to each and everyone that sent in their letters. And also a very big thank you to our sponsors, Cindy Rice and Kivo Pepper. Thank you for holding us down. And the sisters, of course, always wonderful and always ready to help us go through these letters. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chris Carter. See you next week.